Episode number 115. Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Are you eager to get unstuck and figure out what you would actually like to do with your career next? Have you been going around in circles trying to figure it out but getting no further forward? If so, you're going to love today's sponsor, my signature group program, the Career Clarity Academy. Changing career direction can feel overwhelming and daunting, but it doesn't have to be. In my signature program, we give you clear, step-by-step, proven processes for getting completely clear on what it is that you want to do and understanding how you can leverage your existing experience and position yourself to attract and land a dream role. To find out more, head over to lightboxcoaching.com/academy. Hello, and welcome to the show. I am looking forward to this episode where I peel back the curtain and dive into another behind the scenes conversation with one of my previous clients, Angie Bryan. So she's going to be talking about her experience going through the Career Clarity Academy and the insights that she gained and her experience going from thinking that she knew what she wanted to do to deciding on something completely different, but something that is very much aligned to her as a person. One of the things I love about running my business is that I get to bring my whole self to my business. And what I mean by that is I am completely me when I'm working with my clients and when you see me showing up on social and on the podcast and live streams. And in this conversation, you just hear us having fun. I love to laugh. I love to make jokes. I love to chat. And so you hear all of that coming through in my conversation with Angie. So without further ado, let's jump in. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Hello, Angie. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Janine.
And I'm super excited today because I am interviewing one of our Career Clarity Academy alumni, Angie Bryan, and she's going to be sharing today a bit about her experience going through the program. So we've just literally wrapped up this cohort of the program, like we had our last coaching call last night. And so she's been on this journey for the last 90 days. And I can come on here, and I have been coming on here sharing with you about the Career Clarity Academy and sharing about all that's in the program. But I think getting the perspective of someone who's been in the program, and so that she can share from her own perspective with her own words, and we haven't rehearsed this, so it's whatever comes out of her mouth, share her experience of the program, I thought would be useful. So we're going to jump in and I'm going to ask Angie some questions. So let's get going, Angie. So first and foremost, can you introduce yourself and tell everybody a bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is basically coming from sort of like a therapeutic counseling / communications background. So I've actually done kind of many things, many like roles, but they've all kind of had the same source of passion, I guess. And that underlying it is my passion for people to connect, for there to be a space where connection happens. And so how that came about in different roles I've had have been, I'm currently a hypnobirthing practitioner. So I help expectant parents to prepare for childbirth in using hypnosis and mindfulness. And so we go through tons of tools and techniques to get them confident and calm, like leading up to that time. I love to see the connection between the couple and then with their bump. Yeah, bumpies. And I love the bumpies. So, and then also, then I've also been a conference coordinator. So I was doing this with a well-known sort of, I guess I'll just say that I was with MIT Sloan. And what I did was like sort of just run conferences and their international programs. It's now called global programs. And these were conferences that I basically didn't have any interest in the topics. They're business leader conferences, but I loved the space that happened there, the connection that happened. And then also running therapy. So I was doing group therapy and I was doing one-to-one therapy as well. As well as various other things along the way. But those are my main sort of, background.
You've had like I would say, colourful career to date, like very
diverse, definitely diverse. Yeah.
Definitely diverse.
The same thread running through it.
Yeah, absolutely. With like your love of people and that connection. So tell us a bit about like how you were feeling when we had that conversation before you joined the program, and like where you were at in terms of the types of decisions you were trying to make around your career, like your next move in your career.
Yeah. I was already wanting it to expand what I was doing beyond being a hypnobirthing practitioner. And so my plan was to kind of go straight for the therapeutic world, go back into some kind of counseling role. And so my aim was to do that, basically. That's why that first conversation we had was like, I want to do this, but I need accountability, because I know myself. I know that I need that to move forward. But I was also really excited about it all, because I knew that I'm also a mom. I'm of two boys and a husband. I have a husband. I'm not a husband. I have a husband. And it feels like sometimes I'm a husband. All the boys around.
All the boys, you're like the only woman in the house.
Yeah. I was like, I need some female energy in here, but man, I'll just join the boys because I just don't know what else to do. But I lost my train of thought with that. But yeah, basically I knew that this is something that I was excited about it because I was getting more into myself, if that makes sense.
Yes. You had your second son, like less than a year. Is he one now? Is he one?
Yeah. So my second son is 18 months old now.
He's 18 months. See, look, the time flies. I'm like, how is
it? In lockdown, you haven't seen anyone.
I know, you haven't seen anyone. But yeah, so you're like in that space of like, okay, I'm coming out of the baby phase and I want to get back to my career. I've got an idea what I want to go back into. And when we were having that conversation, it was like, okay, I know what I want to do, but my issue is like the accountability. Like, I don't know if, I'm going to actually go and take that action. So we talked about you joining the program to have that structure and to get that accountability. So what was your thoughts about, okay, by the end of the program, this is what I would hope to achieve. So by the end of the 90 days, what was your aim when you first came in?
To have gotten to grips with sort of like what I would need to do to go back into the counseling world. Because there's like, in the States is where I'm from, obviously. Well, it might not be that obvious. Some people ask if I'm Canadian, but I'm from the US. And so in the States, there's like licensure processes and all that, but it's different here. I thought I would have more of a handle on what I would need to do. And basically that I would have done those things, whatever I needed to have done, and understand where I would need to go from there and then be doing that. Like, whether it was more trainee hours or I could just go straight into applying for roles.
Yeah. So like we've come to the end of the program now. And so like what's interesting to me is what you intended at the beginning has kind of shifted.
Yeah.
And we've come to the end. So talk to us a bit about that and kind of what caused the shift and like what you're now thinking you want to do. Like what's changed in the last 90 days for you?
Yes, that's absolutely right. I came in and not expecting what happened. And so basically what happened was through the process that you take us through, it unlocked basically what I really wanted to do. what would really not only fulfill a need in society, I feel like in my wanting to help people, but also fulfill a need in me, which is where my passions and where my interests align.
Yeah.
And the groundwork that's laid at the beginning of the program is an integral part of what then you come out of being even more either determined to move forward with what you thought you wanted, or you've changed what you thought you wanted. And it's now this. And and you're really, and now, I mean, you're probably going to ask this anyway, but now that's amazing, you know? So, and I thought about this earlier today is I think that had I not done this process now, eventually I would have, I think, gotten to where I am now, but it would have taken a lot longer.
Yes. I love that you said that, because there's a lot of times where I speak to people, and when it comes to career change, it's almost like people are like, do you know what? Like I can figure it out on my own. Like I can, I can figure it out. And what I see over and over again is that people spin their wheels with it. And so they feel like they're moving forward, but actually they're not moving forward in terms of getting the clarity that they need. And so like 3 months can pass and 6 months can pass, and they haven't actually taken the right action because they haven't got fully clear on what the action should be. And so what you said there about, I might have got there eventually, but this has accelerated the process is super powerful, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear it, because it's true. It's true for me. I think it'd be true for other people too, quite honestly. Because you know what? You gain so much more from being in a group, because you do meet with your cohort, the other participants doing it at the same time that you are. And I think that not only do you see your process unfolding, you see other what the other participants, how their process is unfolding. Yeah. And it just encourages you all the more. For me, it did anyway.
Yeah. And what's interesting about that is everyone who was on the program were coming from different backgrounds. So even though everyone was coming from a different background and had a different objective in terms of the type of role that they might want to go for, it was great to see that you can still support each other and still understand where each other are coming from in those common feelings of like, there's imposter syndrome, or there's a lack of confidence, or me feeling like I can't really push forward and go towards something that I want. All of that comes up, and it's nice. That's what I like about running a group, is that it's not just me showing up, telling you stuff and like guiding you through. You get, there's the synergy that comes from being in that group environment, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think it's true that people think that they can, it's true, you can do it on your own, but at the same time, why do something on your own, which you're only going to like, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, because the more you interact with others in a group setting that are different from you, the more it draws out sort of different ideas, different creative ability avenues. So anyway, I think it's that it's well worth the fear, because some people have fear coming into like a group situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And there can be that feeling of, I don't know these people, like I don't want to open up. And it's, we do get vulnerable. Like we've had tears, we've had laughter, we've had like really deep moments of introspection throughout this process. But I do think that part of the reason why I keep the cohort small is that it is an intimate space, and it is a safe space for people to be able to like sometimes just share things that they haven't really shared before. And I think that by the end of the program, it's like each other so much more than when you met as strangers at the beginning, because of all that you share on the process during the process. And to follow on from that, like what about the program content and the way that it was delivered generally was the most useful for you? So you mentioned that you liked the group environment. Was there anything else that you thought, do you know what, I really like how this is structured, or this is really, or not necessarily just liked, but this has helped me in facilitating like the journey?
It was that the like quote unquote lessons that you had them, you've already pre-recorded them, they're on video. And so I actually would watch or listen to the videos while I was getting ready in the morning, like for the day. So Janine, you were with me in the morning. Your lovely smiley face. Because Janine is really positive. She's really engaging. And so it's not boring. So I could like basically get the work done while I was multitasking, basically. Mm-hmm. Sorry to admit.
Mom life. Like,
yeah, mom life.
That's what happened.
And so I would like print out the task or whatever it was, the worksheet that we had to do. we didn't have to do, but you know what I mean? That you
your assignments
built into the program. And then what I could do is basically how I work is I ruminate on stuff throughout the day. And while I'm doing the dishes or whatever, you're picking up toys, I'm thinking of what the task was. And then later on, it's really easy. Like even in the evening when I'm really spent from the day, I can still go in and type out whatever it is because I've been thinking about it. So for me, it was like, especially during we came into this like basically right at the start of lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
It was like any time you had before was like
gone.
Yeah. And so people like this, when I told them, I'm doing this coaching program, they're like, how do you have time to do that? And I'm like, basically I just do it in between everything else, and then the calls are at night. They're like at 8:30. So then I had time to do the bedtime routine and whatever else. And do maybe a walk and then come and get on the group.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I like structured it in the way that I did. A lot of the ladies that have come through the academy have been working mums. We've had some ladies who aren't parents, but majority have been. And so I recognize that like sitting through hour-long, presentations is not going to work. So everything is bite-sized so that you can say, right, I'm going to take that lesson today and I'm just going to do that lesson. And like you said, then come back later on and do your reflections and stuff and then show up to coaching once a week. So I'm glad that you found like that works so you can fit it in to your lifestyle, because people will say, yeah, I don't have time to take a course, or I don't have time into a program, and that's understandable. So you do have to say like it is a time investment. So like depending on the structure of the program, can I make it work? Will it work for me? That's an important consideration when you're going into any like course or program. So I think that's a good thing to highlight.
I think one of the things that is important to think about, like for your, anyone thinking about joining, is like, am I hesitant to do this because it's an unknown and I'm afraid about it, because I just feel like you can make the time, like even if you have to wake up half an hour earlier in the day, honestly, in so many ways, I think just jump in and try, jump in and do it.
Yeah.
And if you end up not having time for it, I'm sure you can work something out with Janine and do it later.
Well, like absolutely. And the thing is, we have the pre-recorded aspects of the program, right? So like the lessons you were talking about, and then each of our group calls are recorded. So if you aren't able to make it to one of the coaching sessions, like you can always go and watch the replay and revisit if you need to. And like most of you guys like were able to show up to like every session, or maybe just miss one or two over the course. But like sometimes life happens, stuff happens. And we have our Facebook, like private Facebook community just for CCA members. And so even in between times, you can like post in the group and get support as well. So I feel like we try to cover all the bases in terms of offering you a container and support so that you can keep moving forward. So it's awesome to hear that back from you, that like you found that whole process and the way that we set out really useful.
Yeah.
So what are you excited about most now that you have the clarity that you need and you've kind of come up with, okay, this is where I want to focus my energies? And we talked about yesterday actually like the plan going forward and what you would be thinking about implementing now that you've got that clarity. Like what are you excited about?
I'm honestly like excited about doing the work. And I know that sounds like most people will be like, no, I'm not excited about doing work, but I'm excited about the potential of it, and also knowing that I just really deep down don't think I'll get sick of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So tell people like, what is the it? Like, I want you to
share. Yeah. I've been dancing around that like a little sombrero, haven't I?
Yeah. So like we
maybe people have been hanging on by a thread. What is she doing?
What is she talking about? We started off saying, okay, I think I want to go into being a counselor. Can you help me with figuring out how I can make this happen and make the transition work? Yeah. 2, drum roll, like now.
Yeah. So my focus is going to be on relational coaching. So it's not relationship coaching like like, oh, find the person of your dreams type coaching, but it's more of knowing that good, connected, healthy, flourishing relationships also lead to health in your life. They help you, they enable you to live longer, to be happier, to be more productive, to, basically the benefits of having connected and caring in relationships is amazing.
Yeah.
And so I want to be like an evangelist for relational relations.
Relational relations.
For relationships, basically.
Yeah, so you're going to help people to improve the quality of their relationships.
Thanks for putting those precise words. That's my elevator pitch there. Thank you.
That is the elevator.
Engineering for me, just so I get drilled in.
This is what I do, guys. Like, I take what you really want to say and I help you with that.
Thank you. Yes. You're seeing the process unfold right here.
But here's the thing that I really love, right? So one of the things that we introduced in this cohort was doing DISC profile assessments. So I recently got certified as a DISC practitioner. And when you did your DISC profile and I read your report, I was like, wow, like this is amazing, because the path that you've now chosen is so well aligned with you as a person, like your personality, what's important to you, what your preferences are in terms of how you communicate, like just like what you enjoy doing. All of those things are wrapped up in the path that you've chosen. And we did the DISC assessment like towards the end of the program, right? So it's awesome to see like the work that you did in the foundation piece, and then the decision that you made, and then the DISC and your personality all kind of like fits together. It's like,
it was like the light shineth down, and no, seriously, in all seriousness, it was like, I was like, whoa, this is like the most accurate description of me that has stayed true across many careers or the many roles I've had.
Yeah.
This was me all along. And but I want to do now as a coach will align everything so that I feel fulfilled in doing that.
Yeah. Oh, so excited for you, Angie. I'm so excited. So if there was someone and they're thinking, I don't know if I would join the academy or if I should, if there's someone who's feeling stuck, like what would you say to them?
Well, I would say just do it.
Let's do it, as Nike said.
Yeah, I would, because I mean, as much as you can hem and haw over it, which is a very American way of saying think about it a lot, like it doesn't replace just doing, like literally jumping in.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that you mentioned earlier, right, is that we started the program in the middle of COVID-19, and a lot of people, particularly when they're saying, oh, I want to make a career change, are kind of feeling apprehensive about diving into any kind of like program, or even just really thinking about it now, because the market is so uncertain, and because we don't know how things are going to look in 6 or 12 months time, or we don't know it's just all a bit up in the air. So what are your thoughts about that? Like taking action towards figuring out a career change in the midst of a pandemic?
I think it's a perfect time. Perfect. Because as we know, one of the people in our group actually went through a job change. Like that wasn't her. Yeah.
It wasn't her choice for right now. Like as in.
And so I think that's going to be happening more and more.
Yeah.
And the fields are changing now. Complete fields, like somebody I know, like through school, my son's school, she's in the oil field. She's not in the oil field, but she she is.
Yeah. She's in the oil field as
no, she's in
that sector.
She's I'm gonna get the book now. she's in the industry, And basically she was doing contract work, and she basically, her contract is up after this month, and there's no projects. No project whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I was just talking with them, like, it might be time to think about something else, like, and I've had other conversations with her about it, like, things she's done in the past and stuff like that. And so I told her, I was like, I've just done this great career coaching course, and like, what do you think about doing something like that? So it's just, I definitely like think that, because one of the things you say, Janine, is without having to retrain. And you seriously come out with, you can draw out what experience you already have and what skills you already have, and what you would like to do to combine it together to then get into that field.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's totally possible to pivot and use what you already have. I think when people think career change, they think, oh, I need to start at the bottom, start all over again. And that isn't necessarily the case. So that's one of the things we talk about, like, how do you package what you already have and position it in a way where it's attractive to another industry? And I think you're right in saying it's really important for people to be thinking about that right now. Like, if your industry has been hit in this like climate, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to reposition yourself? Because it's either you pivot or you will have no work to do, right? So it's like, how do you figure out what that pivot actually looks like? And there's lots of industries that are also thriving right now because of what's happened. So it's also saying, well, how could I take where I've come from and be in a position where I could attract an opportunity in a different sector? And knowing how to do that isn't always easy if you've not thought about that before. And so, I totally agree. Now's the time. Oh, thank you so much, Angie. It's been awesome. Hearing from you. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Well, if any of your potential clients want to, reach out to me and ask me questions, I'm open for that. So, but I hope this is helpful for you and for everybody.
Thank you so much. And if anyone is like saying, I've got some relationship issues, and while I've been in lockdown, like, my relationships are not where I want them to be, Angie's your girl. You can reach out to her too.
And also, just to mention, Janine, I'm still offering hypnobirthing courses.
Oh, cool. Yes.
So that's so I'm on Facebook as Mindful Mama Hypnobirthing with Angie Bryan. And then on Instagram, I'm Mindful Mama Angie.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So if you're having a baby soon, and you're like, I think even now that must be so much more like important, right? If you're having a baby in the midst of lockdown, like, it's just a whole different ball game.
Yeah. And so it is. It is, because women are isolated. Actually, pregnant women are now really isolated because they're vulnerable. Yeah. So we actually started a free pregnancy support group. It's called the Stork Club. So get in touch with me on those media outlets if you want to join, because it's for anyone, any stage of pregnancy, anywhere in the world, really, as long as they can join the time that we run it.
Awesome. Thanks, Angie. So thank you everyone for joining. And so thank you all for joining me. It's been awesome, and we'll speak again soon. Bye.
Isn't Angie just lovely? I absolutely loved our conversation, and I want to share with you a bit of an update. So we recorded that episode last year, shortly after Angie had finished the program. And at the end of last year, I decided to reach out to her and just see how she was getting on. And she let me know that she had finished the first draft of her book. I was like mind blown, considering when we first had a conversation about what she would love to do. She said she'd love to write a book that was aligned with what she wanted to coach around within her coaching practice, but she had dismissed it as something that she would never be able to do. And so to see her shift her mindset about what is possible for her, go on to work on her book and create a first draft while she was working with a writing coach, incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I hope you can take that as inspiration, because ultimately, if you make a decision around what it is you want to do next with your career, you can absolutely make it happen. You just have to be committed and you have to believe in yourself and then really get the support that you need to go for it. I'm so proud of her. So proud of her. So I hope you enjoyed that episode. We will be back again very, very soon. And until then, look after you and keep moving towards your career goals. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Changemaker podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to let me know what your biggest takeaway has been. So head over to Instagram, tag me at Career Changemaker, and let me know your thoughts. What did you like most about today's episode? I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, keep working towards your career goals, and we will speak very, very soon.